Hello, welcome to the Bookcast Club, a podcast for people who like to chat books. Today it is all three of it. It is me, Sarah, coming to you from Lutrawita, also known as Tasmania. Belle is in Naarm, also known as Melbourne, and Jenny is in Norwich.
Also known as Norwich. probably has another name. I should find out.
Some old Saxon.
Oldie English name, yeah.
So it's our final episode of the year today, so last episode of the season, episode 10. So we are going to talk through our favourite books of the year, best books of 2024. I think we've got 3-ish each. I'm going to talk through them. Shall I say it again? We're going to talk through them. How are you going, Jen? You good?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm glad that we've seen this season out, because last season we didn't. We never got to our final episode, so it's really nice to actually do the kind of last episode of the season, and I usually really enjoy this episode where everyone shares their faves. So yeah, I'm all good, excited.
Yeah, me too. How are you, Belle? I'm a bit scared to turn to Belle because she's got some construction noise in the background, so I'm pretending she's not here.
It's okay, it stopped. I'm going to try to talk just in the breaks between my neighbour sanding his new front deck that he's just... I'm good.
If I don't talk to her very much, it's because I'm scared of creating editing work for myself.
I know I ask this all the time, but what time is it with you guys? He's sanding his deck really early in the morning, right?
I think he started at I think he waited until maybe 8:15 in the morning. He's respectful. He's a very nice neighbour, which is why I'm a bit afraid to go out. I'm not going to go and ask him to stop sanding his deck so we can record the podcast in peace.
I think you should pop over and say, "Listen, Belle here from the Bookcast Club. I'm sure you know who I am." We haven't met before, but if you could just keep down with your little DIY.
I'm sure he'd be very respectful about it, but it would feel very wanky.
Tell him, can he not get the hand sandpaper out just while you're recording, and then he can go back to his machine?
Give him a piece. It's 8:45 a.m.
Okay. I still think that's quite early for DIY jobs.
Yeah, people love it. There's an 8 a.m. rule here, so I think after 8 he can make as much noise as he wants. All right, lovely. Well, that's that. Shall we talk about our books?
Are we doing them in any, in an order? Or because I think I've just got top 3. I don't think I can...
I have honourable mentions.
Jen, you always do this, Jen. Jen was like, keep it snappy, and then she gets on and she's like, all right, so I've got more than 3.
Bang through them. Fine.
Right, do you want to go first then, Jen, since you've got 1,000?
I've got 20 books to talk about. Yes, I'll go first. I have spoken about all of my favourite books on this podcast this year, so if you're a regular listener, you've heard me talk about them before, but I'll start with the one that I could have sworn that I didn't read this year, but apparently I did, which was Motherthing by Ainslie Hogarth, which I've definitely talked about more than once on this podcast. But this book, I remember just getting very giddy and excited by the ending of it. I think I'd read it not long after reading Vladimir, Julia something, can't remember the author now, and the ending of that just ruining the entire book for me. So to read this one and it have a wild ending that I absolutely loved, it kind of automatically made it a favourite book of the year. But this is the story of Abby, who in the very opening chapter of the book you find out that her, not mother-in-law, but her partner's mother has died, and they lived with her and they've found her in the house. The story goes on to, I guess, explore how both her and her partner deal with the grief of that episode. It affects him a lot more than it does her. He falls into a depression and he loses his job, and what you follow is her then trying to deal with that, but she is working as a carer in a care home and has a favourite resident who is about to be moved for reasons that she does not agree with, to a different care home. And it talks a lot about the mother's ghost in it, and you never quite know whether that's a real ghost or a metaphorical ghost. And I very much enjoyed it. And all I'll say is that in order to kind of cure her husband's depression, she finds one of her mother-in-law's recipes. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, interesting. It sounds a little sinister. Is it sinister?
It might well be sinister, yes.
Yeah, it feels like it. I feel unsettled. Just
But Belle's read it, right?
Yeah.
Belle didn't like the ending.
Oh no, I think I had a better idea for the ending.
Belle wanted to rewrite the ending.
Yeah, I think I had like this moment of dread of being like, oh, if this is going to be the ending, this is going to be so good, and then it wasn't. I liked the ending. It was it was shocking. I feel like I wouldn't be alone. I'm sure a lot of people would have have had the same thought. But yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
Sarah's totally intrigued now.
What is this ending? There's so much tension in your faces.
If you're going to read it, we can't tell you the ending.
I might read it. I'm now trying to remember if I read Vladimir or not. Didn't I read it?
Yeah, I think you read Vladimir. The ending of Vladimir is bloody awful.
That's right, I did read Vladimir.
Whereas in Motherthing, the build up to what happens at the end, in hindsight, you can see it coming. But yeah, it's wild.
Belle's just told me the ending. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it is good. I really enjoyed it.
I might do the next one then, segueing gently to more of the sort of dark and sinister.
Oh, excellent.
One of my favourites of this year has been Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, which I read way at the beginning of the year. I don't think I talked about this on the pod because I read it December, January, when we weren't recording at all. So I feel like I haven't talked about it yet. If I did, it was... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Shut up, Sarah. So this is the story of two women who are married, I think, or they're together in any way. And one of them has just come back from a submarine mission. So she was supposed to be away for 3 weeks, and she's away for 6 months. And no one knows why. What happened with their mission, what happened. There was the organisation that she works for is very private and very secretive. And so her wife, Miri, has had no idea where her wife was for 6 months. And then she comes back. The organisation are just oh, here she is. Sorry about that. They don't give any information. And then something has happened to Leah while she was away, but Miri doesn't know what it is. She just can see that she's very different. She's not communicative. She's not saying what happened. And she's trying to be... She knows that she's had this kind of traumatic experience, so she's trying to be really patient, but doesn't really know what's going on. And she can't... There's no answers. And it's got... The whole book has this kind of it's very domestic. They're just at home. I loved the mood of it. She's just sort of edging around her wife, trying to sort of help her, but it's what the hell happened? Why are you so weird? She's really, really quiet. She kind of will sit down at random points and just stare off into space. And then Miri will ask her what's wrong, and she doesn't really respond, and she's sort of very dreamlike and unresponsive. And she starts doing all these kind of weird things, she has really, really long baths, and I think she drains the bath all the time, and she's always in water. She's always trying to drink water and be in water and be near water. And Miri just sort of tries to help her with that, but is also what the hell's going on? I don't know. And then she tries to contact the organisation that Leah works for and can't get any answers, doesn't know what happened to the other people. It's really unsettling, but it's got that same kind of domestic, weird, unsettling kind of sinister atmosphere, I think. I really, really liked it. I read it in almost one sitting. I couldn't put it down. I really loved the mood of it. I thought it was so good.
I really loved it. I've only just properly finished it, actually. I think this week or last week. I had a couple of chapters left sitting there because I didn't want it to end. I don't know if you guys do that. I sort of just hold on to books sometimes, even though I know how it's going to end. And I'm it's still a working project. I really like the way it's also interspersed, it goes chapter by chapter, of a chapter of them at home, and then it's a chapter slowly working through kind of what happened on the submarine. You are slowly you feel like you're getting closer to sort of understanding what happened to her. But at the same time, they leave a lot out, and there's a lot sort of to be interpreted how you want. It's sort of quite unclear still, even in the end. I really liked it. It was really, really unsettling.
Yeah, it's got a very kind of cursed bread vibe, I would say. Speaking of, we just did the Sophie Mack episode, and I think it's not quite as rich writing style. She hasn't quite got that same sort of languid writing style, but I thought, yeah, it's got that similar kind of small, weird, quiet. I think I love those kind of books. I think I'm really into them.
Yeah, this very small, smouldering storyline just slowly.
Yeah, smouldering is a great word.
I also have her other book, Private Rights, that I started and I haven't gone back to, but that's, I'm really, really looking forward to reading that as well, because the couple of chapters I started months ago, I haven't returned to it, but it's on my bedside table. And
oh, how exciting. This one looks great. Love it. I'm going to put it on hold at the library right now.
I'll go then. I'll go next, shall I? Okay, I'm going to one of my top 3. I don't think I can order them, but is Splinters by Leslie Jamison, which I know I've talked about before, I think, which is a memoir by Leslie Jamison, who's an American writer, and this memoir is about maybe an 18-month period when she separates from her husband, or she leaves her husband when her baby is 1 year old, and they live in a little house somewhere in New York next to a fire station, and for most of it, and it's just this really beautiful period of time where she's teaching and she's raising her daughter and she's sharing the care of her daughter with her husband and navigating this new life, and sort of the reckoning of her coming to terms with what it means now to be not only a single mother, but one half of a parent team as well. So having to share her daughter and have time away from her daughter as well. And it ends with a period of, I think maybe when the baby's two-ish, 2.5, when COVID hits New York as well. And so it talks about that period of sort of extra isolation. And it's done in a way that doesn't feel... I wasn't sure whether I was ready to read about COVID yet, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, that it just feels like a very recent experience, and everyone's had very different experiences themselves during that time. But she just writes very beautifully, and it's just very personal about her family's experience. It's really lovely writing, and I really enjoyed it. And I had the chance to see her speak at the Melbourne Writers' Festival this year, which was wonderful. And she was, just one of those writers who's like just really wonderful to watch talk about her work, and she speaks as well as she writes. So that's Splinters by Leslie Jamison. So that'll be in my top 3 for the year for sure.
Yeah, I like the sound of that one when you talked about it. I can't remember what episode it was in. But yeah, I really like the sound of that. Did she have, like, I know they had shared custody, but did she have custody of their child when COVID hit? I'm quite intrigued as to how that, like, worked during COVID times. I guess you had bubbles and households, didn't you? So they probably could swap and...
Yeah, so that was their bubble, but I think... At the start, because the daughter mainly stayed with her, and at the start, I think it was just them.
And she had to, like, learn to kind of share.
Yeah, but it was... her
child, I guess.
Just, I think, living in a big city where it was hit very hard, and a lot of people live in very, small houses, apartments. They live in places that aren't really intended to be occupied 24/7. They're sort of just sleeping for sleeping and for eating. And then there was a lot of writing and a lot of talk about losing the third space during COVID times. So, like, you've got home, you've got work, and then you've got this third space, whatever it is, be public, parks, or for a lot of people, it's like, their childcare or school sort of environment where they're socialising with other parents, or it's the cafe down the street where you go every Friday and sit, and or it's your local library or some other place that you sort of make sense of being, and it sort of becomes part of your personality and part of your your routine and the loss of that. I think in big cities where a lot of people rely on these third spaces, must have been very, very hard. Very, very hard for parents, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty... I'm definitely not ready to read about COVID, I can tell you that.
I think maybe I'm just edging towards maybe being able to pick up a book, about COVID and people's experiences. Maybe in this vein.
Yeah, it didn't feel forced because it sort of is like just the natural, like, I think it's like an 18-month period, so it's just the last like 6 months of the book time scale is, so it's not overdone. It's like quite a short chapter, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm going to segue into another memoir. In that case, one of my favourite books this year was Strong Female Character by Fern Brady, which I talked about in the memoirs episode I did with the other Sarah that comes on the pod. Fern Brady is a British comedian. I believe she's Glaswegian, and she was undiagnosed autistic. She refers to it as Asperger's syndrome in the book for 20 years, and it's the memoir of her life growing up with undiagnosed autism, and it affected her life massively. She got herself into quite dangerous situations and in dangerous spaces and could never quite comprehend how it happened and why it was happening. She was homeless quite a few times. She tried to take her own life. So it's quite heavy hitting. However, she's very, very funny. So it is dark in places, but the edge of it is always kind of taken off because of her delivery, and she reads it herself. I really loved it. It's one of the best memoirs I've read, I think. And I just wanted to read the blurb, which she's obviously written, because I think it just gives a really kind of good summary and idea of the tone of the book. So Fern Brady was told she couldn't be autistic because she's had loads of boyfriends and is good at eye contact. This is a story of how being female can get in the way of being autistic and how being autistic gets in the way of being the right kind of woman. A summary of my book. 1. I'm diagnosed with autism 20 years after telling a doctor I had it. 2. My terrible Catholic childhood. I hate my parents, etc. 3. My friendship with an elderly man who runs the corner shop and is definitely not trying to groom me. I get groomed. 4. Homelessness. 5. Stripping. 6. More stripping, but with more nervous breakdowns. 7. I hate everyone at uni and live with a psycho, etc. 8. Redacted as too spicy. 9. After everyone tells me I don't look autistic, I try to cure my autism and get addicted to Xanax. 10. Redacted as too embarrassing. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a great memoir. She shares some really quite shocking stuff. So she has autistic meltdowns, I think she refers to them as. But her meltdowns come in the form of very violent outbursts. So she smashes up her home a lot, smashes up furniture, would do that to her parents' house. But there's one incident where she is at a party, and I think maybe the girlfriend of a friend says something to her, and the way she reacts is just to grab a bottle and smash it over her head. And she says like she doesn't know why she did it, how she did it. She just knows that in that moment she had no control, and for years she didn't understand why she was like that and why things like that happened. And I think it's just really eye-opening how much of a struggle it is if you don't get help. And, autism is displayed in lots of different ways. I don't know, I just felt like it's good to come out of a memoir feeling like you understand something a bit better. And it was very eye-opening for me.
That sounds amazing. That's gone straight on the list of books I'm going to acquire on my trip. I was just having a look on the library websites as you were talking, and they don't have the the ebook because I'm trying not to take physical books away with me because I anticipate bringing so many home. And it's actually not, I don't think it's on the Kobo website.
I wonder if it hasn't been published that widely. I'd never heard of her, and she's a UK comedian.
I've seen her quite a few times in Melbourne. She frequents like the Melbourne comedy festival scene. I've seen her. She's very, very funny.
I think if you're interested in comedy as well, it's really good because she talks about panel shows and how a lot of the time she wasn't selected to be on them because she doesn't react in the way that is expected of somebody. So yeah, I think if you're into like comedy and how that works behind the scenes, it's really interesting as well.
She was on Taskmaster, I think, as well, right?
I've never seen Taskmaster, but yeah, she definitely has been on that. I know, Sarah, and I know that upsets you every time I say it.
I can't believe it. It's so good. But maybe you should watch her season. Maybe that's the way that you get into it.
I will do. I'm going to.
Maybe you would enjoy it. She's very good on it.
I feel like she talks about that one being one that she felt really comfortable on.
Yeah, Taskmaster's really good. Because also in that show they spend quite a lot of time. They do a whole season together. And there's only 5 contestants, so they get to know each other quite well. So I think it ends up being quite close. So she probably felt a bit more comfortable. And she does make references in the season to being autistic, and she'll sort of say things about how she doesn't have a clue what's going on. Her sort of comedic style with this is really amazing, actually.
Sorry, I'll try that again.
It's really hard to say, isn't it?
Taskmaster is definitely not a classical. There's quite a few like panel comedian shows around.
Yeah,
where you're just getting their reaction. It's definitely not that.
I don't think I'm making it up. I'm sure she talks about it. Yeah, I'm sure she talks about it in the book as being a more kind of open and welcoming. She could be herself more on that program,
and it's very strange and very fun. Like it's not. Yeah, it's so good. Jen, you've got to watch it.
Have you got a memoir, Belle, to segue if we're doing memoirs?
No, I've just done a memoir.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have a memoir?
Oh, sorry. God.
You segue with a memoir.
Do you have a memoir? Shall we talk about mine again?
No, I don't have a memoir. God. No, again. I'll go. Sorry. It's very early in the morning, kind of.
Early in the morning and late at night here. Like, we're just going to lose our minds.
Delirious.
Whatever. Well, I'm going to talk about something that's not a memoir, because I don't care. I'm going to talk about something I've already talked about on the pod. That's Feast by Emily O'Grady. So Belle and I talked about this together, I think, because we did the Stellar episode together last season, when Belle was not even a fully fledged member of this podcast, and look how far we've come. This was shortlisted for the Stellar Prize this year. Feast was just absolute fucking banger. Another sort of like dark, weird, clustery book. It's set in Scotland, set in some sort of rural country home in Scotland in like the middle of awful weather. It starts off actually with the main character Alison, who's in her 60s, I want to say, or maybe late 50s, realising that she's pregnant and feeling quite bizarre about that.
In her late 60s, did you say?
No, I think she's in her late 50s.
I think she's in her 40s. I think she's in her 40s. I don't think she's that old.
Okay, I'll start again.
In her late 60s.
Wow.
Oh, she's in her... Oh, whatever. She's practically dead.
Sarah thinks I'm ancient.
She's in her 40s. Sorry, I'll say that again, shall I? Starts off with a woman who's in her 40s, realising that she's pregnant and being like, oh, okay, didn't think that was going to happen to me. And then it turns out that she and her partner are welcoming this weekend her partner's daughter from a previous marriage. They have this sort of juxtaposition throughout where you have like this sort of teenage daughter that he's got and all these sort of issues, and then she's in her mind thinking about motherhood kind of the whole way through. So that's kind of the juxtaposition of the book, and it is about her and her husband celebrating the 18th birthday of this daughter. And her mother, the biological mother, has also come for the first time. So all of them are together kind of for the first time. And it's this sort of like clustery, domestic family thing where everyone's sort of slightly talking to each other, but not super well. There's all of this really complex backstory between the characters, particularly between the two parents of Neve, the daughter. And it's very layered and very complex, and you just sort of like read through it carefully as they're just going about their life. There's a lot of kind of long descriptions where they're just like having breakfast or going for walks or whatever, and you start to sort of the layers of their complex dynamics are slowly starting to be unpicked, and you start to understand what's happened. There's a long history between them all with some really complex things around like motherhood and consent and like power plays, power imbalances. It's all kind of there, but it's just sort of below the surface. So you're kind of reading it like, what is happening? What happened? I thought it was really, really good. It was really, really took me by surprise. I thought it was absolutely excellent. Definitely a favourite for the year.
Yeah, I found myself thinking about it quite a bit, actually. And that was, very early in the year that we read that. Shall I go next?
Yeah, please.
It's a very, very short book, but it definitely has landed itself in my top 3, was Foster by Clare Keegan, which I've also only just read in the last month or so, which is a beautiful novella about a young girl. I think maybe she's sort of around 10 years old, and she gets dropped to live with some, I'm assuming they're like family friends, who are a couple who are childless, and the sort of background seems to be that her mother's just had another baby. They've got too many children at home, and it's sort of uncertain how long she's being left with this family for, whether or not they're permanently offloading one of their children to this family or this couple, or if it's just for a short amount of time. And she lives with them over a period, I think it's sort of over a season, I think it's summer. It is so short, I feel like it's maybe 89 pages. And I don't know how she's done it in 89 pages, but it's one of the best stories I've ever read. You really find yourself very attached to the young girl, who I think remains nameless. This beautiful couple who it becomes obvious that they had a child and they've lost their child. They're just lovely and patient, and obviously have all this love to give. And she's, it's sort of unclear what's happened in her background, but she's, she has nightmares and she wets the bed, and the way that this family sort of deal with that and care for her and clothe her and feed her and take her to church and take her to events and just treat her like their own child and treat her with love and respect. You sort of are really hoping by the end that she's going to get to stay with them. It's just up there with one of the best books I've ever read, I think. And I've only just come to Clare Keegan this year. I've read her other book, which I loved, but I would give it a read.
Yeah, I've been recommended this so many times. I've got this on hold at the library actually right at this moment, because I've been told by quite a few different people to read this. It sounds really, really good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm always up for an 87-page.
89. Weren't you listening,
89.
Jenny? 89, she said.
89 pages. I picked it up by accident. I was picking up another, like a hold that I had at the library, and it was just sitting.
You picked it up by accident. I meant to pick up the one next to it.
Yeah. I just walked past it. You know the trolley where they put like the recent returns on? It's got the good stuff on it. I walked past that.
When you said I was picking up a hold, that you were going to say you took someone else, you saw it, and you're like, I'll take that as well.
Yeah, I love that one.
No. Yeah, and I just sat and I read it in an hour at a cafe. It was really good. Oh, God. It's really, really good. Classic.
You're so Wes Anderson.
Living my dream life. Yeah, it sounds like that's Clare Keegan's style, to like pack in a really like profound, powerful story in a really short space.
Love it. Who's next?
Me, right. My last one is probably no surprise to anyone who listens regularly, but Cackle by Rachel Harrison, which I've definitely talked about on this podcast. This is the story of... So Rachel Harrison is a horror writer, so I haven't read any of her other books, but I've seen her talked about a lot as a horror writer, and this is kind of like her, I guess, like cozy horror adjacent book. So I'd heard it was a cozy read, which is why I picked it up. But it's about a woman called Anna, I believe. I can't quite remember the main protagonist's name. I think she's Anna. And she has recently broken up with her long-term boyfriend and has got a new teaching job in a small town. So it's very kind of small town, cozy vibes from the start. But she meets this woman called Sophie, who they quite quickly strike up a friendship, but all the other people in the town that she's moved to are very polite and nice about Sophie, but there's a vibe that they don't actually like her very much or are quite frightened of her. And it's no spoiler that Sophie turns out to be a witch, and she like lives in this amazing mansion in the middle of the woods, and like some of the book is quite scary actually in places, just the right amount of scary. So if you want like just a little spook here and there, it's really great for that. But their like friendship grows, and it's I guess it's like a, I don't know, like a female friendship kind of book as well. It's more about empowering Anna to like move on from men. Like she doesn't need to lose a boyfriend. Like the first half of the book, she spends a lot of it kind of like pining over this relationship, and yeah, she moves on, and I loved it. And there's one of my favourite characters ever in the book, and he doesn't speak, and I won't spoil who he is, but I loved him. It's lovely. I loved it. I love the whole thing. But yeah,
yeah, great. That sounds really that sounds quite cool. I like the sound of it. I'm just looking at the cover. It's kind of green-ish, and then
has it got a cup of tea in that one?
Got a cup of tea with like a delicate green teacup with a little spider on it, and then Cackle is written in green, and then it says the sort of what's the word, like the kind of phrase at the bottom. Mm-hmm. It says it's good to be wicked. So are they trying to like?
I don't know if they were playing on wicked. Maybe they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, like weird things happen in it that are quite disturbing, and I like that. Like it's got the perfect balance of cozy and a bit gross in places, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by this, to be honest. Sounds really good.
I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Edge your way into like a cozy book, but not too cozy. I don't want to go all the way in.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at the library for it. Yeah, it looks really good. I better do my last one, I guess. Shall I?
Yeah, do it.
My last one is James by Percival Everett, which I talked about very recently for our Booker episode, so I won't repeat myself too much here. But this is a retelling, essentially, of Huckleberry Finn, of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So in Huckleberry Finn, Huck Finn is the story of this boy, Huck Finn, who runs away from where he lives on a plantation place. And he takes with him an enslaved man, James. And in James by Percival Everett, he takes the story of this man and he turns him into the central character. And he sort of reimagines the story as if it was from his perspective. They get separated. Huck Finn and James get separated quite early in the book. And so most of the book is just James on his own, trying to figure stuff out. And he's trying to figure out how he can get papers. He's trying to get back to his family because he runs away, and he's trying to get across to a state where slavery has been abolished so that he can sort of come back as a free man, and he's trying to make his way. And I just thought it was very, very impressive. It's the writing is really, really good. It's very tight. It is really, really thoughtful and also really pacey. It's this really interesting mix of being this sort of very fast-paced adventure book, but then having a lot of subtlety and a lot of nuance, and he's doing a lot in like what he's changing with the story. There's a lot of things about how the slaves like talk to each other and how they talk to each other compared to how they talk to white people. He's changed a lot of that. He puts in a lot of subtleties. So there's just like a lot of layers to it, and you sort of get this feeling. As I was reading, I was like, God, I feel like I'm going to miss half of this book. And if you've ever seen any interviews by him, he's clearly put in. He knows so much about this era, and he's thought so much about the original book and what he wants to sort of portray. But it's so pacey. It's like it's almost like Washington Black or something by like S.E. Dugan. It's got that kind of super pacey like adventure. It was such an interesting and clever combination. I think it's not often that you would read a book that's so considered and nuanced, but also has that pace. Like it's quite an incredible feat, I think, to sort of combine those two things. So I just thought it was like a triumph, honestly. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it.
Presumably you don't need to have read Huckleberry Finn to
Presumably, I haven't read it.
Yeah.
I just sort of know the vague story, like, you know, like you sort of do. And then I think I just watched a couple of reviews that sort of summarised it to sort of understand a little bit about what he was doing. There are things that are happening in the book that clearly aren't going to be happening in Huck Finn, so you can kind of see what he's doing. But yeah, I just read a bit around it and around some of the changes that he'd made, which are really interesting. And also there's quite a lot of interviews of him online where he talks about what he's done and what motivated him to do those changes. So you can I sort of learned a lot that way. So I don't know if I need to read Huck Finn, to be honest. I feel quite satisfied in my life having read James.
That sounds wonderful. That is on my endless TBR list, but maybe one for a long plane ride if it's pacey as well, because I feel like I often need that.
Yeah, it would be one that you would. Yeah, it's definitely sort of like a 1 or 2 sitting. Yeah, really, really good. It's like sort of just shy of 300 pages, I think. So it's a pretty, yeah, very good. All right, who is done? Well, I've lost track of who's talking. You're done, Belle?
No, I'm not done. I've got
You're
one
not
more.
done. So you put your hand up when I said who is done, for what reason?
Well, I thought I thought you were going to say who's next.
No, I didn't. No, you're listening.
Listening is.
But you would like to say something, Belle, please. You've got another book to talk about.
Jen, you're done, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
Oh, she's done. She's not talking anymore. If she talks again, I'm going to
She's gone to bed. Yeah.
Jen's exhausted. Okay. It's quite late for Jen.
I'm so sorry, Jen. All right, we're wrapping it up now. My final book is The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden. It was longlisted for the Booker Prize this year. I do have to say that I picked it up because Sarah and I had a debate over whether the UK cover or the American cover was better. Sarah has a deep hatred for the room through doors. Is that right? Why are you looking at me with disgust?
Because I just can't, like, I'm just so right about this cover thing and you're so wrong. And I find it so hard to, like...
Oh no, this cover's much better.
It's not.
I love it.
Guys, the apples are where it's at.
It is, they're pears. They're pears.
The pears are where it's
Get
at.
it right.
The spruce is where it's at.
Come on. No, it's beautiful. It's actually, my love for this cover overrides my hatred of hardbacks. Like, I bought this as a hardback. It's a normal size. It's not a big one.
You think you know a person.
I know. And it's like embossed. It's beautiful. Anyway, The Safekeep is about a young girl, a young lady, a young woman,
Oh, she's old, I think. I think she's in it.
Sarah, she's not in her 60s.
She's 69.
I think she's in her late 20s. I want to say she's in her late 20s.
Yeah, I think they're all in their 20s.
Yeah. It's set after the end of the Second World War in rural Netherlands. She lives in her family's house all by herself. It's like a very big mansion in the country. She's got 2 brothers who live in a nearby city. The siblings meet at the start of the book to meet the younger brother's new girlfriend, Eva, who they take Isabel takes an immediate dislike to. And Eva ends up coming to stay with Isabel in the family house when her brother goes away for a work trip for sort of an unknown amount of time. Isabel and Eva's characters are complete sort of polar opposites. You know, Isabel's very sensible and sort of very straight and judgmental and serious, and Eva is the opposite. And there's this beautiful line in the book where she writes, Eva took up space with a loud restlessness, a bee stuck in her room with all the windows shut. And I feel like that was like a really nice portrayal of how sort of Eva existed in this house. So Isabel's really upset with how much noise she makes and how she sleeps in and she stays up late. and she sort of just sunbathes in the backyard, and she just has this carelessness about her. I feel like I can't say any more, and I think I'm just going to leave it there, but it is an absolute like ride of a book. I think I just had no idea what I was getting into. I think I thought it was just going to be like a character portrayal of just like these two very different women living in this big house in the country, and maybe there was going to be some conflict, and they're both young women living like in their late 20s and obviously living very different lives, and I don't know. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I wasn't sure like how to even talk about it, because I don't want to give anything away, because I had no idea going into it. And I feel like that is the perfect way. You should just go in blind, take our word for it, but it is incredible. I loved it. Like instantly it's the sort of book that I would love. Like the writing is wonderful. It's got that beautiful sort of all those domestic descriptions of them being in this house, and the family dynamics between, like, the mother has died some years ago. Isabel cared for her in this house while she died, and then Isabel's lived there since. I think there's an older brother and a younger brother, and they both live in the city, and it's sort of quite unjust in that I think the house is in the older brother's name or the younger brother's name, one of the brothers' names. So Isabel will never be able to own the house, but she lives there and she's expected to marry. And there's just all these societal sort of pressures happening in the background, but otherwise she just lives this very quiet domestic existence. It is honestly probably one of the best. I don't even know if saying there's a twist is giving too much away, but there is something happens halfway through the book, and I did not see it coming at all.
Yeah, I agree completely. I really, really liked it. I'm glad you mentioned this, because this was one of my... I was thinking about putting it in. Yeah, I really love this. It's kind of like a cross between, I don't know, these kind of like domestic clustery books that we've been talking about, and then like a Sarah Waters or something. It's got this kind of like slightly more plotty element to it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I really, really liked this. Definitely recommend it.
There's something like sinister, and yeah, it's also got that sort of like undertone as well.
Yeah, it does. That's our theme of the year, I would say. Kind of sinister, weird, domestic,
smouldering.
Yes, smouldering. Exactly.
Smouldering.
That's the word.
It's very it's very sexy as well. Like it's incredibly like there's like a lot of tension.
I really want to read this one.
You have to read it, Jen. You have to read it.
Yeah, I really want to read it.
Yeah, you'll like it, Jen.
On the chili scale, out of 5, how many chili peppers would you give it in spice terms?
Oh, like 2. But it's more like a kind of vibe thing than a...
Okay, spicy.
It's not
vibes,
like a... What was that thing called? What was
Pumpkin
that
spice
chai latte
cafe.
book that you were... Yeah, that's it. Not like that.
That didn't make my honourable mentions either. Maybe it should.
I feel like it's like a 2.5. There's like a couple of scenes. Don't you reckon?
Okay, I like sexual tension though. Sounds good.
It's more vibes than... I always feel a bit worried about having this kind of conversation, because I feel it reveals too much about you as a person.
Okay, sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'd say maybe 2.5 chilies.
Yeah,
2.5 chilies, Jenny.
Yeah, it's notable on the chili scale.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I really want to read it. Sounds great.
I walked into a just like a homeware shop with the book in my arm because I'd been reading it on the tram.
Gilmore Girls episode do you
I know, I'm so sorry. I sound like such a wanker. I was Christmas shopping, and I'd taken the book to read it on the tram because as soon as I hit this point in the book, I couldn't put it down. I was just like, I asked like Kit to drive somewhere so I could read in the car.
Oh my God.
But I got accosted by like a lady in the bookshop, in the homeware shop. She was like, "Have you finished it, or is that like a gift for somebody?" And I was like, "I'm almost finished." And she's like, "Can you come back when you finished it? Because I have no one to talk to about it." And it was so like, she was like, "This is my favorite book." Like, yeah,
Nice.
So there we go.
Oh, I love it.
It's not just us. It's not just us.
Yeah, shame about the cover. Anyway.
Sarah is wrong
I love it.
on the
It's
cover.
beautiful. You're outnumbered, Sarah. I'm
No,
sorry.
I've been asking friends, and they all
Well,
agree.
they're not here. What
No,
friends?
they're not here. I have to get some
Yeah.
guests on the pod for a very specific reason.
Pretend friends.
Next year I'll have all these weird guests and I'll just crowbar like the Safekeep into it. I'm like, oh, what do you think of this?
What about this cover? I've got some honourable mentions. I would literally just read them out. I'm not going to talk
All right,
about them.
yeah, read them out.
Okay, so North Woods by Daniel Mason, which me and Chris did an episode
lovely.
on. So I loved that one. Carla by Colin Walsh, which I've literally thrust into both of your hands.
Can I talk about that? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go on.
I'm listening to that at the moment. I'm really loving it. I'm really listening to the audiobook, which is what you did, I think.
I did.
And it's like, I was actually hoping I might get it done in time for this episode, but I'm not going to, but obviously, because that's now done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it.
Should I download it for the plane?
Yeah, it's a good audio.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of it on the plane. That's where I started listening to it. It was on the plane, because it's kind of a literary thriller. Yeah, the audiobook's really good. And different voices for all the characters, so it's very dynamic. Quite short chapters as well, so it goes, it's good.
Okay, my third one is Children of Paradise by Camilla Grudova, which was the weird cinema book. Definitely sinister. And one that I was hoping I'd finish because I thought it would probably make my top 3, which is a memoir by Kelly Bishop called The Third Gilmore Girl. And you two haven't watched Gilmore Girls, so you won't know who this is. But she is the mum of Lorelai Gilmore, so she plays Emily Gilmore in Gilmore Girls. And I haven't even reached the Gilmore Girls section bit, but I just think she is an amazing woman. It's so good, and I'm really loving it. So yeah, I'd say even if you're not a Gilmore Girls fan, I think if you're into theatre, musical theatre, and how somebody might kind of get into that career, yeah, it's really great. She's great.
For the record, Jen, I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan.
Oh, I thought
Massive.
Why have I made it?
No,
Who
massive.
told me they haven't watched it? Maybe it's Sarah.
I'm actually...
Dr. Sarah.
I think it's Sarah. Yeah.
Dr. Sarah.
I haven't watched it.
I'm getting to the point where I think I could start again. I haven't watched this series in... You know, you do that thing where like every... Maybe it's just me. I have to wait like 6 or 7 years, and then I can rewatch a series. Like I've forgotten enough of the little episodes, little details.
I can rewatch Gilmore Girls like
you can
every
just watch
year,
it back
just
to
like
back.
in autumn. Just rewatch it again. Yeah, I love it.
I watched it during med school.
Yeah, I've never been interested in Gilmore Girls, but then you, Jenny, did that episode about the Rory Gilmore book club.
Reading challenge.
Which was I really enjoyed that episode. And I was like, oh, maybe I do want to. I enjoy all your episodes, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's got a really cool vibe. You know, I'm a bit allergic to the word cozy, but I nearly used it then, but I won't.
Oh, careful.
But it's good. Yeah, careful. I'm changing as I get older. Nice. Is that it, you guys?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
it.
done.
Has anyone got any more thoughts? No? All good? Yeah, I think I'm all good. I feel good. Thanks very much for listening. Belle, thanks for coming on to the pod for the season.
Yeah. Woohoo! Well done.
Thank you for welcoming me.
I should have had more aplomb about that at the beginning. I'm always very eager to start at the beginning of the episode. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been awesome to have you. We've been really, really grateful to have you. Haven't we, Jen?
We have indeed.
No, it's been lovely. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
All right, thank you for listening, dear listener, and thank you for being with us for the season. We're off now for sort of Christmas, January, Feb. We'll be back sort of March, April for another season of 10 episodes. In the meantime, you can catch us on Patreon where we have other bonus episodes, and we have a newsletter and we have social media and all that kind of stuff. All of that is in the show notes, so you can check it out. And thank you again. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yeah. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.